use my affiliate link to support the channel down in the description. Okay, let's do this. 60 card branded list. I want to stick with 60, even though I did brick on 60 at the YCS, but I took out a lot of the bricks. I made it so that the ratios work quite well with what I want to do, and honestly, this deck feels a lot better than the build I brought into Nats, or sorry, the YCS. So 3 Aluber is something that we could change in the future, but I think 3 Aluber is just fine because we are running Allure of Darkness, so I want to max out on the darks. Alternatively, we have the Fallen of Elbaz. I like having 3 for the grind game. You have to run 3. 2 Quem. Shout out to having a Starlight now. Quem is the best normal summon in the deck, frankly. She facilitates way too much and gives you the ability to have a grind game and play through hand traps, play through Nib, play through Mirror Jade. We run 2 because we want to play through Nib, obviously, because you use your first through a combo, and then they Nib you on your first Quem. You're going to want the second to summon off a Gwignall. So she's very good. And then 3 Cartesia. I think 3 Cartesia has basically become the standard now. 3 Cartesia is way too good. I explained this concept before, but Cartesia is one of your best options for a grind game and is also your best extender. She allows you to play through hand traps quite well, obviously dodging Imperm and Veiler very easily. However, she also allows you to have a great grind game because you want to run 3 because you always want to have 1 in the graveyard to recur back to your hand at the end phase for discard fodder. You also want to have 1 in hand for discard fodder, and then you also want to have 1 on your field always to fuse. So that's why I like running 3. This allows you to have 1 in rotation in every single one of your zones that are important. So I think that 3 Cartesia is very standard. I would not want to run less. The hands where you don't see Cartesia are the hands you lose. Would I ever go 3 Quem? No. Would I ever go to 1 Quem? Maybe, but like when you go 1 Quem, you lose so many lines and you lose your ability to play through Nib very well. So yeah, we are sticking with 2. Like, I don't know, every time I go to 1, I instantly regret it. 3 Shrouded Dragon. We're still on 3. I think 3 Shrouded Dragon is quite good. Obviously, it's for consistency purposes. It is a once per turn, though, so it can really suck seeing 2 of these guys, especially. But we do run Allure plus 1 High Spirits, so this card allows you to, you know, obviously play through, like get your engine going. Also, it's a dragon, and also can combo off with Quem. It's just a pretty good card. I don't think I'd ever cut this down lower, unless I went down below 50 cards. We have 3 Tragedy. So this is something new. 3 Tragedy, 1 Mercurier. So 3 Tragedy is kind of interesting. I'm not running more Bestials. I'm not running a whole lot of Bestials in this build, so I wanted to have an option to, you know, be able to get my engine going with like Fusion Duplication with Cartesia, since I'm running 3 Cartesia. We aren't running the Patchwork, though, so this might theoretically get bricky, but we do have the Allure of Darkness, so we're usually, you know, it makes it so Allure's always live, and this card's just amazing to have either in the graveyard or just in your hand to, like, always plus when you're going Brand Rengar and Chimera. I do think, though, if I'm being honest, I would change this and maybe cut 1, and I'll tell you guys what I would add in over that after this. But then we have 1 Mercurier. I think this is all you need because we are not on the branded Sword Goo today. Unfortunately, shout Raul for the Sword Goo, but I'm not on Sword Goo today. But that's all we need is 1. It does suck when you have to banish this, but it is what it is. 1 Maximus. This is basically because we're playing the Nadir package, so it allows you to play through Nibiru very well, and then it allows your Nadir servant to basically let you go like plus 5 in the end phase. So by the end phase, so very good card. I wouldn't run it elsewise. A lot of people were off this last format because Branded and Voiceless Voice. Now Branded's gonna be a lot less represented this format. There's a lot more hand traps, a lot more board breakers. It's gonna be tougher to pilot. Branded, I still think Branded is an amazing choice, though. Don't let me dissuade you from running the deck. I'm gonna be running this deck at Nationals. But it's certainly something where it's changed enough to where I think Maximus is pretty free again. And if Maximus is free, Nadir Servant is your best way to play through hand traps and Branded. Frankly, it is your best way. It does way more than high spirits. It does way more than your other options. It's also not bad going second. You can run things like Entis, but also like cracking a board and then going Nadir Servant and puppet locking ain't bad at all, or just like half cracking a board and then finishing the job on your opponent's turn happens a lot with Nadir Servant. Now, if Voiceless continues to run branded, that could be an issue, but I think that you're going to see with Tenpai and other Snake Eye really push down the representation of Voiceless to like a 3rd or 4th slot. So we'll see how that goes. And I think that a lot of decks or Voiceless players will end up running the pure version because of the new spell, or the new card. So that's just where I'm going with this. And I wouldn't run Nadir without this, but we're also on Super Poly, so that's just kind of what we're doing with. I don't care about Nadiring a Voiceless player either. We use the graveyard effects way better than they could ever use it. So even if they send like Albion, like Titan, like they usually don't run Titan Clad, so it's like they aren't specking Albaz, you know, they're just getting branded in red, you know. That's why it's not that bad to Maximus a Voiceless player, frankly. One Kit Spriggans, it is an amazing extender. We are also running Branded High Spirits, so this is just a nice little bridge off of Branded High Spirits to get to Branded Fusion. It's also a dark, so it ups our dark count for Allure Darkness. 2 Bastials, and oh no, we are on 3 Bastials? I'm just trying to make sure. Got it. So I actually think we're at 59, so I'm gonna have to up 1 card. We have 4 Bastials. Saronir, like I said, I didn't want to run a whole lot of Bastials, but I think that Saronir is an okay card to be running right now in a build like this because I want to up my dark counts. It's also a decent combo piece. I think that the issue with my build at YCS Raleigh was I was drawing the patchwork cards with Saronir. Those cards do not interact very well together, so unless you have like a 3rd card, and at that point we're doing a 3-card combo, you know, like what are we doing? Is this like 2015? So I think Saronir's at 2 is just fine in this build. We are running a single high spirit, so it helps us kind of filter through these, plus the Allure Darknesses. I could up maybe the high spirits counts and go 3 Saronir and drop the Nadir and then get a bigger, drop the Super Poly and then get a bigger extra deck, obviously. I think that'd work. I just would not run the Patchwork. I think Patchwork's really bad. And I think Magnemut's still pretty good as an extender. Still will be pretty live, and you need Lubellion. That's your best card. Dark Dragoon is a pretty good card this format. I saw my homie Yuri Dia, shout Yuri in the chat. He almost top 32'd. He bubbled out basically, and he was using Dragoon the whole weekend. Crazy. He was doing crazy work with Dragoon. It's very good against Purrely. It's very good against all these board breakers and hand traps. It's your only Omni negate. So I think Dragoon is actually very much worth it to run in a format with more board breakers. It's also very good against Tenpai too. So I think that I've been pilled back on Dragoon, guys. So shout out Yuri for that. But and then you have the Gimmick Puppet. You have to run it. Best card in the deck. Why is this card not banned? JK, don't ban it, Konami. So we'll talk more about Dragoon when we get to that. But look at this Judge Mat. Look at this Lulu Judge Mat. We love Lulu here in the chat. So I'll read some chats. So honestly, I fear nothing but like Ash double Bestial if I'm 2-0. If not, I'm 2-0ing respectfully, says Yuri Diaz. Hell yeah, hell yeah. Raul Sanders, I'm not prepped for Shifter. If they have it, they have it. Yeah, no, that's fair. Why are you not running Stapelia? Well, if you have Stapelia, then you should be fine, right? So let's get into spells and traps. So 3 Branded Fusion. We love Branded Fusion here. 3 opening. This should be 2 branded in red. So this is my proxy branded in red. And then 1 Retribution and 1 High Spirits and 1 Lost. Very standard. I think that 2 red is quite good. I was only running 1 at various points, but I think you want 2 in a build like this. It's some games you'll just lose not having the second one when you have a gas build like this, and it helps you play through your grind game a bit more. So I could go to 1 maybe, but I would probably have to go to like a 45 card build for me to justify that. 1 High Spirits is really good. High Spirits like literally won me like so many games. This won me a game on stream just top decking it. I went High Spirits, Search a Mercurier, and I got a Mercurier, or Search out a Mercurier for his Crow for the Gimmick Puppet. It was kind of crazy, and he didn't see it coming. He could have crowed my Gimmick Puppet, but then He didn't think that I could high spirit bridge a Mercurier. 2-brand loss is something that I've also considered. I just think that it's too much sometimes. Like a lot of the, like I run 3 tragedies, so I can recur it quite easily back. And the 2 red just helps you combo very, very well. Especially when you run 3 tragedy, like brand new red is so live. And like for that reason, I've considered running a second Guardian Chimera, frankly. So, but also like you can just like make Magnum or Boral pretty easily. So like extra is not final. 3 God cards. Fusion deployment. Another God card. 4 God cards. Yeah, no, these are the best board breakers in the game right now. I think that Super Poly is actually going to be amazing in this format because a lot of just decks that will set up fields very super polyable, with the new decks running a lot of single attribute types, monsters, and then Droplet was the best card at Raleigh for all the people I talked to, the people who topped the event too. They all said Droplet was their best card, so it's like Droplet is going to continue to be the best board breaker, but I think Super Poly is back in season. It's pretty good against Tenpai. It's really good against Voiceless, really good against various, basically all the other decks are gonna end up cropping up because it's very good against Rogue. So it's gonna be a pretty wide open format outside of like the top 3, like Voiceless, Tenpai, and Snake Eye will help take care of that. It's also just not bad against those matchups, helps you dodge Gym Perm. I just like this on top of the Nadir package, so this is why I'm running. You could obviously, you don't need to run this, but I think this card just allows me to be a better branded player, and it helps me crack any board. You saw Clifton get top 16 with it. I think it's very much tried and tested this format already. He did say it was the most cuttable card in his deck, but he said it was he wouldn't have wanted to cut it in retrospect. It was very good for him. And then Droplet, like I said, it just does a lot. Even though the Omni Negates are gone, Droplet is still very good for like Apo. You just kind of need it. And just like other things. 4 more God cards. Helps you play through Ash Blossom. I didn't see this card all weekend at Raleigh. It was kind of crazy, but this card is just like... I could run 3 talents. My man Nightfall on 3 talents. My man Clifton on 3 talents. Certainly something that I think I'd consider for a big event. Just not anything, I was at locals with this deck. 3 Allure and 3 Nadir Servant for extra extending, and just like getting through my deck and playing through hand traps. So yeah, no, Nadir Servant is just insane with Maximus. It allows you to turn an Ash Blossom into a game shot, essentially. It's just fine. Allows you to play through any hand traps, allows you to play through multiple hand traps, essentially, and set up a board that's going to get you to Gimmick Puppet or triple Mirror Jade. Very good. Also, like 3 talents or 3 Allure. This is definitely kind of cuttable too, but I wouldn't run a 60 card build without Allure. I think you just need it to filter your deck a lot more. And this card's just insane whenever I see it, and I've upped the dark count in this deck to like with the 3 Tragedy, 2 Sarnier, and a Magnum, where this card is always live and it's always insane. So this card's like usually always a +1. So I really like it. I will say though, at Raleigh, I talked to a lot of people. People are on main deck Droll. Obviously, they side out Droll against Branded a lot of the time, but if they see you're on Allure of Darkness, they will probably not side out Droll. So it's something to consider, obviously. But if we went to a 42 card build, this is something you can, or like 45 card build. I do like Clifton's list. I would probably just add like a Quem and then Nadir package, and I think you could call a day on if you want like a shorter build of this kind of build. I just like the gas that this one enables. I love Allures. I love my ulti Allures. I think it gives this build a lot higher of a ceiling, which is really good for grind games. 1 Mirror Jade, 1 Lubellion, 2 Albion for the fusions. Yes, we are only on 1 Mirror Jade again. I think that's fine. I don't really miss it. Oh, I'm supposed to have Adlib in my deck. Is that what one of the cards I was missing? Or yeah, no, we could definitely be running Adlib in the main deck too. That's something you could consider over like a Saranir or something, because we're only on 1 Mirror Jade, so that's certainly something I'd probably make a addition or a change, like siding one or changing a Saranir or a Tragedy, and then because if you're running 1 Mirror Jade, it's still fine, but if they banish your Mirror Jade, you really do, or if you use Brand Red and you need to banish the Mirror Jade, you need to have the Adlib to recur it. So I think in that case, 1 Mirror Jade's pretty fine. So just something to consider. 1 Lubellion, that's just fine. 2 Albion, that's just fine. I think Mirror Jade's still one of your best cards in the deck, but we have other monsters that, you know, obviously they're... I think Sanctifier and Dragoon are frankly better this format. They do more. So I think 1 is just fine. And it depends, you know, if you see a lot of kashtira, maybe we'll go back to 2. 1 Titanclad, 1 Rinbrum, 1 Sanctifier. Best card in the game. Shout Sanctifier. Can't wait to be puppet locking with Muddy Mud Dragon, Sanctifier, and Whitewoods. 1 Quertus, 2 Wignall, because we love 1 card gimmick locking. Shout Nightfall for that beautiful combo. I did that a few times over the weekend, or well, did that a few times at the locals. I was just like, oh, this is the 1 card gimmick lock. With Branded Fusion. So it's such an amazing combo, and it's only facilitated through 2 Grand Guignol. Also lets you have a bigger grind game. If you have 3 Cartesia, it just makes sense to run 2 Grand Guignol. It's like second best card in the extra deck, frankly, besides like Mirror Jade, so besides like Sanctifier. So in Quertus, you just have to run it. It goes into Guignol, but I think we could frankly be running a Lulu over this, so something to consider. You could run a Lulu over this for the Nadir package. Something I'm gonna test in future builds of this is cutting the Quertus for the Lulu, but I think that Quertus is so good, so it's so hard to cut this card. It's so good, like you get caught with your pants down without that card. So certainly something to consider. And then we have 1 Dragoon is your second Mirror Jade essentially. This card's amazing this format with how many board breakers there are, so it allows you to have that nice Omni Negate to stick, to allow your board not to just get ran over. Also puts up a 4,000 to 5,000 beater, which is very important for Towers decks, and then also it's pretty good against Tenpai. So I think this card's very good this format. Shout out Yuri Diaz for getting me back on this card. It definitely needs more testing, but I think that as a battering ram for most things this format to get around the hand traps and the board breakers, very good option. Very, very good option. Borreload and Chimera for your anti-runic stun cards, basically. I mean, Chimera is standard, but Borreload, I talked to so many Brandis duelists. Clifton said it was amazing in his deck. Yuri said it was amazing in his deck as well. This card just sticks on the board and says, Runic Stun, you're going to die. This card is so hard, because Runic Stun can't out this card for the most part, especially if you just keep looping branded openings. Borreload Furious Dragon is very good. And then Guardian Chimera also, just having the 1 is all you need, but I do have the 2 Branded Red. Also, like I mentioned from Nightfall before, Magnum the Reliever is also a very good option against Tenpai Dragon, so, you know, I think you need these for Tenpai, either Borreload or Magnum, or both preferably, but obviously sometimes it doesn't work out that way. So Borreload Furious Dragon, one of the best cards in the extra deck this format for us, because it gets over the stun, it gets over the annoying field spells. We don't have great options for spot removal in Branded, so I think it's a card that you need to be kind of running. Magnum the Reliever is also very good. Like I said, I could maybe run 2 Chimera, but I like having the option. Like, this sticks to the board. Chimera is just like a once and go. I don't think that's why like 2 Chimera is that great. And then your super poly targets, Garura and Muddragon. Also, Garura is a bridge for Nadir to just draw a card and then banish for the Maximus. Muddragon's very good to call fire for the Promethea plays, and then just generally good for the super poly, so not bad at all. Also, you can make off of Albaz, which is funny. We got through the deck profile, y'all. Holy crap. I'm going to use the bathroom, and then we're going to use or do some test hands, but I'm going to answer some chats now. But yeah, that was the deck profile. Like I said, I think Adlib would probably go in the main deck. That would be my only real change from... Oh, did I not do the... Oh, I haven't done the side deck. Gotta do the side deck. Side deck time. Alright, so what cards are... What's the best boss monster in the game right now? Appaloosa. Snatch, Steal, Change of Heart. These cards are fantastic right now. I think Change of Heart's so free right now. So many people are just stealing Appaloosas. Like I've mentioned this since the beginning of last format. Talents take Appo is one of the best things to break a board right now. You know, you get... With your ability to take an Appo for 2 to get over Ash Blossom is really good. This is almost main deckable, but I wouldn't. Then Snatch Shield gets over Purrely because you can target the Noir, so it's just an extra Purrely out. I'm not really too afraid of Purrely with this build, to be honest, but it is kind of what it is. So yeah, one Stash Shield, one Change of Heart for taking Appos and all that fun stuff. Breaking boards, very good. And then for the board breakers, you have Lightning Storm, Feather Duster, and 3 Evenlies, and Cosmic Cyclone. So this might be a bit heavy, but I just really hate stun. I just really hate stun. And like, obviously these could be Twin Twisters. I think I could probably drop like Evenlies here, to be honest. I just think Evenly is really good this format, so maybe it's like these, but for that reason I think these are all amazing right now with the lack of Baron and everything. So I think these cards are just so free. You just like go second board breaker, you side into pack goo basically, and break any board. It's very good. And then 3 Nibiru. So we're back on a little bit of hand trappage. I think Nibiru is just really good this format. It's very good going first as well. So this card will go first, side out like the super polys a lot of the time against the decks they aren't good against, like fire. And I mean, actually super poly going first isn't bad against fire, to be fair, but you know, neither here nor there. I think this card's very free. A lot of decks lost their Baron access, so not running Nibiru is like almost a cardinal sin in my opinion. So it's either this or Droll. I just think this hits way more decks at this point, more critically, because fire can play through this. Sometimes fire can play through Droll. Sometimes fire can't play through Nib. And then last card, this could be a Herald of the Abyss for Purely or Blazing Branded King for 10 Pi. So we're gonna have the Blazing Branded King, Xiao Diaz, for it's gonna get over the 10 Pi field spell. It's very good. It turns it off. It also gets over stun. It's also very good just in general because it's a field negate while you have a level 8 or higher branded monster or fusion monster or that mentions it. It doesn't even have to be level 8. It just has to be a fusion monster that mentions Swell in the Balbaz. Obviously, they're all level 8. And then also you can recur this back. So it's very good. Having it in engine, Forbidden Droplet's pretty good. It gets over Called by the Grave as well. So very good option. You can just side in going first against most matchups. And it gets over those annoying, pesky field spells.